Hello, my friends. Today we're learning about Mציעא Daf Kuf Zayin. We're going to start Kufo based from the Mishnah. It says the Mishnah, Mikabel Sode Mechaveri, someone who got a field from his friends, and this Mishnah is talking about Chakirus, that it's for a certain amount of money or tvu, not a percentage. The Zoroastrian, and the agreement was that he could plant barley, lo Yizra'en Chitin, he's not allowed to plant it with wheat, because wheat weakens the field more than the barley. Chitin, if the agreement was to plant wheat, Israel is allowed to plant the barley because barley less weakens the field. Rab Shimon Gamliel Oisa. Rab Shimon Gamliel doesn't agree with that, and we're going to see in the Gemara why not. Tvua, if the agreement was to plant it with grain, lo Israel kitnis. He's not allowed to plant it with pulse. Kitnis, if the agreement was to plant it with pulse, Israel tvua, because grain weakens the field less. Rabbi Shimon Gamliel also here he argues and it says it's forbidden. Omar Rav Chizda, my time with Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, why does it say you're not allowed to plant it with something quicker? Because it says in the pasuk, She'eris Yisrael, the leftover people from the Yisrael nation, lo yasu avlo, they won't do something wrong, v'lo yidabru chazav, and they won't lie, v'lo imotzi b'fiyam loshen tarvis, and even a type of lie you're not going to do. So if the agreement was to do wheat, you do wheat. To do barley, you do barley. You can't change. Said the Gemara, I have a kasha. This can't be the reason of Rabbi Shimon Gamliel. It says Magvas Purim lePurim. When the Gaboim of Tzedakah collected money for Purim, they have to give all the money on Purim, and they can't keep it and say, "Oh, the Anim have enough. We'll keep it for another time." You don't start counting how much Anim is. You give it all to the Anim. We collected for Purim. And now that was a din in the Gaboim. Now we're going to say a din about the Anim themselves. Ve'ina Oni, who got money for Purim, Rasha likach mehem ritzula sandalo, to buy a lace or something for his sandal because it was meant for Purim. Buy meat for Purim. Buy wine, but not a lace for his sandal. Elohim Kain, only if, when is the mutter, Elohim Kain itno b'mamad anshair. If you went to the mamad anshair, that's where all anshair, the main people, are there, and he tells them, listen, I want to buy something else with it, and they say, okay, then it's mutter. Diva Rabbi Yaakov, Sh'omar Mishra Meir, this Rabbi Yaakov said this in the name of Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Shimon Gamliel Meikel. Rabbi Shimon Gamliel argues and it says no, the Gaboim can keep it for another Magbis, Anim can keep it for another, or at least Anim for sure can use the money for something else because the people gave it for tzedakah. So what do they care if it goes for Purim or if it goes for a lace for his sandal? Omar Abaye. So we have a kasha. We could see that you're allowed to change if someone doesn't care. So if I plant something that ruins the field less, why should there be a problem? Why is Reb Shimon Gamliel in our Mishnah saying it's forbidden to change even for the produce that weakens the field less? It's a whole different reason. Like a person who wants the Tidbor Aryeh that his land won't grow anything. Lizra, we're going to go with Rashi's pshat. Lizra shata chitu v'shata sorim, shata shesi v'shata Arab. If you start changing your field and one year plant wheat and the other year plant barley, and one year you planted this direction and the other year you planted a different direction. Basically, if you start changing things every year, you're going to make your field not able to grow anything. It's not good for it. And therefore, even though that Sorim is less weakens the field, but if he plants this guy Chitim, he doesn't want you to plant Sorim because he wants to keep on the same type of produce. Says the Gemara of a lawyer more, and even Reb Shimon Gamliel says that also he's not only saying Elo, and only in a case, the loy kori v'toni, they never plowed straight after the tzira and plowed again before he planted. Aval kori v'toni, but if you plowed the field twice, less than both, then it's no problem to change from one produce to another produce. Tvor, we learned in the Mishnah, if the agreement was to plant grain lo Israel kitnis, you shouldn't plant it with kitnis. Masnile Rav Yehuda Ravin. Rav Yehuda learned in Ravin our Mishnah, but he said a different lashon in the Mishnah. He said if it's tvor, the agreement is kitnis, is allowed to plant with pulse. Omar Lehi, what do you mean? Va'anot in our Mishnah it says not like that. Tvor lo Israel kitnis. Omar Lehi lo kasha, it's not kasha. Holon v'holo. The Mishnah by us with our girsa is written in Eretz Yisrael where there's not lots of water, and therefore if you change from tvor to kitnis, you ruin the ground. When Bovel, where there's much more marshlands and water, there's no problem to change from grain to kitnis. Omar Rav Yehuda Ravin Barav Nachman. So Rav Yehuda told Ravin, the son of Nachman, he told him the following: Rabbi Nochi, my brother Ravin, ani tichle de bekisna, these type of weeds that grow wildly between the flax, and they're very sharp. Ein boy mishum gezel, if you see it in someone else's fields of flax, this tichli, you could take them out, because the benefit, that's the value of it, is less than the damage it causes to the flax. So you're saving the landlord if you take it out for him and you take it for yourself. But if they're on the edge of the field and it's not in between the flax, then it doesn't damage the flax, and then the landlord wants it, and therefore yesh bo mishum gezel. And says, and he continues and he says, if this weed became already hard, lezera, and the seeds already ready to plant, afilu de beikitne, even if it's in the middle of the flax field, nami yesh bo mishum gezel, there is gezel. Why is that? My time, my apsid, because the damage I cause to the field, it's already too late. You can't save anything. So taking it out now doesn't save the landlord anything, and therefore the landlord wants it and he wants to benefit from it. But if it's still fresh and it's not hardened yet for seeds, then you're saving the landlord and he's happy for you to take it. Similar people who said, but he said something else. He told him, Rabbi Nachim, my brother Rabbi, ani dili diloch. We have a field next to each other, and some of the trees that are growing in your field are really mine because the roots go into my field, and some of the trees in my field really are yours because the roots go into your field. No bnei mitzra, and the meaning of people who have a field one next to each other. You go after the roots, not after where the tree comes out. You go where the roots are. If the roots are in the other person's direction, he gets a produce, a fruit. The itma, we learned in the Brisa, a tree that's between two fields. Omarav, anoite lekan. If the roots are to this side, it goes to the person where the roots are in his field, he gets a fruit. Anoite lekan. You go after the roots, like we said. Shmuel says you split between the two people. We have a kasha, a tree that's standing on the borders. You should split it. To right to Shmuel, and a kasha and Rav, to the Rav. So the Gemara, Tigrum or Shmuel, that it's a Aryeh pain, but he said, I have a teretz where Rav could say, Tigrum Rav, Aliba de Rav, Lefishet as Rav, and Memale, Kolametze Kula, it's so that the roots are going to both directions. So the Gemara, Yochi, if so, Mile, remember, what's the Chiddush? So the Gemara, we do need to tell you this Chiddush. The Toli Tunya Lechad Gisa, that the fruit of it is on one side, towards Reuven's side, not towards Shimon's side. Still, what do you need to tell you to you? We said we go after the roots. If the roots are 50-50, so the fruit is 50-50. So you might have thought, Reuven could tell Shimon, let's split like the line of the field and all the fruit on my side, and I'm going to get all the fruits. Shimon could tell Reuven, why do you think to split it this way? Let's split it this way. And we're going to get half of everything and split it the same. Another thing. Rabin, my brother, don't buy a field that's next to town. Why not? If you pass a field that's full of produce, you shouldn't stand there and look, because you give an einara to the field. And if you have a field close to town, everyone go past there and you're going to have lots of einara on your field. So the Gemara, I have a cash on that. Rabbi Abba met the Talmid of Rav, a Talmid of Rav. What did Rav explain? Bani Kroim, these psukim that I'm going to just say. What's the pasuk? Baruch Hatobar, he blessed you in the city. Baruch Hatobar Soda, and blessed in the field. Baruch Hatobar Ve'echo, you blessed when you come. Baruch Hatobar Tesecha, and you blessed when you leave. What did Rav explain about this pasuk? The Talmidim of Rav, he met a few Talmidim of Rav. The Talmidim of Rav said, this is what Rav explained about the pasuk. Baruch Hatobayir, blessed you in the city, Shia Beischa Somoch LeBeis HaKnesses, that your house will be close to Shul. Baruch Hatabasade, you blessed in the field, Shia Nechasecha Korivim Lo'ir, that your field would be close to town. Baruch Hatabayvoyecha, you blessed in your, when you're coming, when you come home from a long journey and your wife is safek nida and you can't be with her and it's difficult because you really want to be, after a while they haven't been. So a bracha is that shouldn't happen. It means your kids and your great grandkids should be like you. Omar Rabbi Yochanan, and Rabbi Yochanan explained it a bit different. Loi Omar Achi. This is not how Rav explained it. Elo, he explained the pasuk different. Baruch Atah Baru, it means she beis hakneses samuch l'shulchanecha. It's you should have a toilet next to your house, next to where you eat. Al beis hakneses loi, that the shoes close to your house is not a good thing. Why? Rabbi Yochanan Tamei the Omar, he holds scharpsish yesh. The scharpsish to go a long way to shul, so it's not such a bracha to be close to shul. Baruch Atah Basada means you nechosecha b'shuloshim. They should have three. Your nechosim should be in three different categories. Shlish b'tvuah, 3 in grain. Shlish b'zeitzin, 3 olives. V'shlish b'kfarim, and a third grapes. Baruch Atah b'voyecha, blessed when you come. Baruch Atah b'tisecha, it means shetei tzioschem min ha'olam, when you pass away, could be oschel olam, like when you were born. Not be oschel olam, like when a person's born below chet, he never did anything wrong. Af yetziaschem min ha'olam, also when you pass away, the bracha should be, they should be below chet, you shouldn't have any sins. V'zayin on base. So we're holding at the kasha. We said it's good to have, not good to have a field next to town. And here we said Baruch Atah ba'ir, one of the pshatim. Sorry, Baruch Atah b'sodeh. Which one did we say? Let's see. Baruch Atah b'sodeh. The yinechesecha should be cloisim la'ir. It's a bracha. So what's good, to have a field next to the city or not? So the Gemara loy kashya hadar mahadalei shur v'rakta. In the case where it's a bracha, it's talking about where there is it has a wall, and on the wall it has like a fence, like with forms on type of barbed wire, and no one sees into the field, and therefore there's no ainara. Hadaloi mahadalei shur v'rakta. Or when you don't have such a thing, it's no ainara, and therefore it's okay. And it's better to be close to the city. It's easy to get there, and you have no ainara. Perfect. Then it's a bracha. So again, if no one could see and it's a bracha to be close to the city, people could see and it's not because they have ainara. It says in the pasuk in Dvarim, "Ve'esir Hashem imcha kol choyle." Hashem will take away from you all your illnesses. Amar Rav, du ein. It's what's all illnesses is a bad ein. The other people look at people and they don't have shefa. They don't look at them with shefa. They look at them with a small, as if there's not enough for everyone. Rav L'Tamei, the Rav Salik, Rav went lebei kivri to graveyard. Obad my Obad, he did lachash, he spoke to the graves, and he knew what each one died from. And he said, Omar tishim etisho, 99% be'ain ra, they died from ain ra, ve'echad b'derech, and one just from natural causes he died. So we could see that's pshat ve'esi Hashem kol choyli, that's the main choyli that people die, that's the choyli Hashem will take away from you is ain ra. Now we're going to see lots of shittis, what does it mean, kol choyli? V'shmuel Omar ze'aruach, it means the wind. And Shmuel said that there's a wind that sometimes causes people damage. Sometimes it's this type of wind, and sometimes this type of wind. Shmuel Tamei, like Shmuel says, the Omar Shmuel, Akul Baruch, everyone died from wind. Said the Gemara, Shmuel, Hoika Rugamach, sometimes the king killed someone with a sword. What did that to do with the wind? He died from a sword. Said the Gemara, Hanochanami, the people who died from a sword, he loves Zika, if not to be wind, Avdilu Usama, we could make for them a medicine, V'chaya, and keep them alive. But because the wind, after the wound is open, the wind causes the death. Rab Chanina Omar, that when it says kol choyli, it means utzina, coldness, not the wind, cold. The Omar Rab Chanina, akol b'yedei Shemaim, everything is in the hands of Hashem. Chutz mitzinim pachim, only if you get cold, if you go in the cold and you get ill, that's your fault. You should have kept away. Shneimar, because it's in the pasuk, tzinim pachim, coldness, b'derech ikesh. Shoyme nafshe, someone who guards himself, yirchak mehem, should keep away from them. It's tzoya that causes all the choyli. The Omar Mar, tzoyas achoisim, the tzoya that comes out of the nose, the tzoyas oizim that comes out from the ear. Ruben kosher, if you have a lot of it, it's bad. Mutum, if you have a very little yofa, it's good for you. Rabbi Loza Omar Zumara, it's a mora. Tanina Miochi Machlo, when it's in the posuk, Machlo means the mora. Velama nikra shmor Machlo, and why they called Machlo? She machale gufa shel odom. Because it's mechale, the whole goof of a person. It starts over there, the bitterness from the mora, and it goes everywhere. Dova acher, another pshat, Machlo, sheshmoinim b'shloish chaloim kluim b'mora. That's 83 illnesses or toile in the mora. And Machalo Gematria is Mem and Lamid is 70, Ches is 8 is 78 plus 5 is 83, so it's Gematria 83. So 83 illnesses come from the Mora. V'kulon, all of these, pas b'shachris, if you eat bread in the morning, b'melach, together with salt, v'kitun shemaim, and a jug of water, mevatlosam, it causes them to go away. And I forgot how to say mora in English, but it's a part in the body that's like a bitter part. Tan Rabbanon learned, it gimel dvarim nemru b'pas, 13 things are said about pas shachris. Again, Tan Rabbanon learned, it gimel dvarim nemru b'pas shachris. 13 good things about pas shachris. Matzeles, it says minachamo, from the heat, minatzina, from the cold, minazikin, from the ruach that we said at the top, minamazdikin, from the shadim, umachkim aspesi, makes you wise, zoiche bedin, makes you zoiche bedin because you tainu well, because you come yushav, lilmod Torah helps you learn, ulilamed to teach, dvar nishmoim, and people listen to you because you come calm with talmudim iskayim biyoda, and he remembers his Torah, vein psorim alei hevel, and his meat doesn't overheat, and he has Mishicha to his wife, because after he eats, he has taiva to his wife and he's with her. And then when he goes into the market, sees another woman, he doesn't have a big taiva because he's satisfied. And he kills the lice that's in the stomach. And some people say, it takes away kina from people, and brings in love into a person. So it's very, very important to eat in the morning. And Rashi says that kitun shemayim, before Rashi says someone doesn't have wine. So it seems like that to have bread with wine is even better. Omalei Rabba leRova bar Mori. Rabba told Rova bar Mori, Minoho milsot arma inchi. Where is the source for what people say, the saying that people say? Shitin reitin roi. 60 people run, v'loi motu, and the car run as fast. They gather to a person in Metzafra Korach that has a sandwich in the morning. Rabbanon said, Ashken ve'echol, wake up early and eat, b'kayit in the summer, mipnei chama, from the heat, v'chorif in the cold, mipnei atzina, from the cold. What's the source from this in the Torah? Amalei told him, it says, Lo yirovu, they won't be hungry, v'lo yitzmu, and they won't be thirsty, v'lo yakem shor v'shemesh, and the heat and the sun won't hit them. So we could see that if you're not hungry and you're not thirsty, you're protected from the heat and the sun. Now we're going to explain it. Lo yakem shor v'shemesh, why will they not get heated or not burned from the sun? Came the lo yirovu v'lo yitzmu, because they're not hungry and not thirsty. Omalei, so he told him, At Omers Limiasim, you telling me that's a source. I hold that the source for this thing that eating in the morning is very good for a person. It's from a different source in the Torah. It says in the Pasuk, you'll serve you Hashem, and he'll bless your bread, and he'll bless your water, and you'll work, you'll be Eved of Hashem, your God. So sorry. That means that means Kriya Shema v'tefillah. You'll say Kriya Shema in the morning and pray to Hashem. And your bread v'smimecho v'pas b'melach. You're going to have bread with salt in the morning, v'kitun shel mayim, and a jug of water. Mikan v'heilach. If you do this, what the continuation of the pasuk. I'll take away illnesses from you. So we could see that obviously davening and saying Krishma, but also eating in the morning and drinking in the morning takes away illnesses from a person. Omalei Rav Yehuda Rav Ada Meshucha. Rav Yehuda told Rav Ada, who was a Meshucha, he was a person who would measure the land between partners who want to split, or someone who wants to sell a land, or Yershim who want to split. His job was to measure land. So he told them, be very careful when you measure, and don't say, oh, what's the difference? It's only 1 centimeter difference. The Cholprutu, every little piece of land, Chozi, it's possible, a kurkumarishka, it's a type of herb that's quite expensive and very good. And in that little place of land that you're giving wrongly, a person could have planted another one of these herbs, one of these spices, and therefore be very makbid. Omalei Rav Yehuda Rav Ada Meshucha. Rav Yehuda told Rav Ada Meshucha, the same Rav Ada who was a measurer. Daled Amois Danigra Zalzabu. The minig was that when they had a river, and from the river they'd dig a little trench for the river to go in there and to water all the fields of the valley. So that little river that was man-built, and the minig was to keep 4 ames at the edge of it and make a line, all the people of the valley, make a line Daled ames from the edge, and no one's allowed to plow the field past that line because that's to protect that it shouldn't get damaged the little river. So don't be makbid. It doesn't have to be exactly 4 amas. If it's a bit less than 4 amas, no big deal. You could be mizalzal on it. But the anara, even the 4 amas on the edge of the river, loitim shechelu klal, don't measure it with 4 amas and make a line over there. No, you have to oy medas. Look, some places you need more than 4 amas, and therefore in those places give more than 4 amas. Says the Gemara, Rav Yudah letami, Rav Yudah like what he holds. So Rav Yudah arba amas that nigra, the 4 amas on the side of the street, the thing that the people built to take to the valley, the Bnei Nigra, belongs to them, to each one of them, and therefore if one of them has a bit less, only 3 amas at the edge or 3.5, so the someone could be moichelim, it belongs to this people of the valley. The other people of the valley could be moichel that his line's a bit closer to the stream. But the anara, the 4 amas at the side of the river, they don't belong to people who have a field over there. The kul alma belongs to the whole world. And in many countries, and I know for sure in Costa Rica, they have very clear laws that the beaches can't belong to anyone. Any river on the side of the rivers doesn't belong to anyone. So also those days, the side of the river belonged to everyone. And therefore be very makbid to give the right amount that people could go there or pull the ships, like we're going to see soon, the people would go, and if they need to pull the ships, they'd go at the bank and pull the ships. And therefore, you should be makbid to give the right amount. Machruz Rav Ami announced, the wideness of the shoulders of someone who pulls the boat on both sides of the river, you should cut it. Even if someone has produce growing their trees, you could cut it off. And Rashi explained that these people, when they were pulling the boat, so let's say the boat is in this direction, they would tilt into the land to pull the boat, because that the boat shouldn't pull them into the river. So all that, even that slant, you should cut it down because it belongs to everyone. Rav Nosson Bar Oishia cut Shitza Almosa. He went wild and he cut 16 amas at the side of the river. Also Alei Bnei Meshurnia, the people of Bnei Meshurnia who his land was there and he cut their produce, came to him. Dafnu, they hit him. Because why are you cutting all our produce 16 amas deep? Usavai, he fought Rishus Rabbim, and we know Rishus Rabbim is 16 amas, so we could cut 16 amas. Said the Gemara Veloyu, it's not correct. Hosom in Rishus Rabbim b'nui kulahai. You need in Rishus Rabbim in a public place where lots of people go in town. You need 16 amas wide. Hochab over here, mishumam tuchi ashlein. It's only to stretch the ropes, as we explained. Kimloi katfi nagdi. Sagi, it's enough. The width, the wideness of the people who carry the boats, who pull the boats of the rope, the wideness of their shoulders, it's enough. Rabba Barav Huna, Avaleu Abba, he had a forest. Abba means a forest, Aguda on the banks, Denara of the river. Omrule Nekuitzmar, cut your forest, 4 amas is enough, or however much amount we need to schlep the boats. Omalehu, he told them, Kutsu Iloi Vitatoi, if the people in the field next to me, lower down in the bank or higher up in the bank, when they cut their 4 amas, I'll cut mine. If all the Nekuitz and only afterwards I'll cut mine. Said the Gemara, how could Rabbi Barav Huna do such a thing? Vaksiv, it's in the Potsuk, is Koishishu v'koshu, and we learn from there, first judge yourself, and only afterwards judge other people. So how is he saying, first he should cut and I should cut? If the halacha is you need to cut, why are you not cutting? So the Gemara, Hosom over there, Abba, the forest at the bottom of the bank and higher up in the bank, belonged to a person, Parazik Rafila, who was a strong person who was part of the kingdom, and no one could talk to him, and everyone knew that he's not going to cut the trees on his part. So what's the benefit for me to cut my trees? No one's going to get there to pull the ship. They'll do it on the other side. Another Gemara is going to explain it. If he's going to cut, I'm also going to cut. If he's not going to cut, what should I cut my forest for? If they stretch, they'll stretch on the other side. And if they stretch on my side, they're anyway going to get stuck before my field and after my field. So what's the benefit that my field is going to be cut? More continuation to the story. Rabbi Bar Nachman, Avikosi Ba'arba is going on a boat, on a small boat. Chaza O Abba, he saw that forest, the Koya Guda Denara, on the side of the river, and it wasn't cut, and this is the one that belonged to Rabbi Bar Avuna. Amalahu, the man, who does it belong to? Amrle, they told him, the Rabbi Bar Avuna. Omar, he said the pasuk, V'yad Asarim V'askanim Oisu B'mal Hazeh. It's a pasuk that the high people, the officers and the Chosheva people, they were moyel. So here, a Chosheva person like Rabbi Bar Avuna is not cutting his forest down. Sorry, the pasuk finishes B'mala the Rishonim. They were first to do wrong. Here, why are they not cutting his forest? Amalu Kutsu. He told them, cut his forest down. Koitsu. And they cut it. Also, Rabbi Bar Avuna came to his forest. Ashkecha de Kaitze, see that it's cut. His forest on the river is cut. Man Kaitze, Tokut Anfe, the one who cut it, he shouldn't have continuation. His anofim, that it's like Rav Nachman explains that the tree, the trunk is a person, and the anofim is a woman, and the paris is the kids and the money. So he said his anofim should be cut. That means he shouldn't have kids. Amri, they said, Kulu Shone de Rabbi Bar Avuna, all the year the Rabbi Bar Avuna was alive. Loi Kayan Ezara the Rabbi Bar Nachman. Rav Nachman's didn't have kids, or maybe they didn't stay alive because what he said about him. Because he got very upset because he had a good reason not to cut his forest down. Shkoyach.